And we are live. Happy Saturday. Crypto and coffee. Here with my coffee. I see the freaking Oracle is also brewing up a cup. I saw Journey earlier on the chat. Hopefully you join us, buddy. Yeah, so I think this week has been an incredible week for cryptocurrency. Obviously, we've seen a lot of movement, a lot of consolidation, though, on Bitcoin's front, right? We saw a lot of altcoins move. Solana, we saw VeChain going up to, what was that, 15 cents? It's at 15.3 right now. Everything's on a slight pullback right now. And of course, we could go a little bit further down. That's always a possibility. How's it going, Natural Canadian? How's everything? How's your weekend going so far? I just want to be okay, I know that I'm on a different camp from most people on this in terms of I don't think that we are heading for some massive capitulation event in December. Now, I do think that we're going to have a sell-off. In the last video, I talked about that, how we could potentially have a sell-off. Raoul Pal thinks that as well, mainly because people saw back in 2017 for Bitcoin, that's when it dropped. So everyone's going to assume that it's going to be like that here. Well, we know that a couple of things are not true. The one big thing that's not true about that is this market cycle so far is longer than the previous market cycles. So far, just a couple of weeks, but we are getting to the point where this cycle is becoming longer than the last cycle. And also, if you look at previous cycles, like if you look, and excuse the drawings right now, we'll take a look at that in a moment here. But if you look at like 2017 and the double peak, it was a very clear drop and then back up to a higher peak than the initial peak. You can't really call this a double peak. This isn't really a double peak. And nothing about what's happened here has been a parabolic rise to say something like this. Now, we did have that rise kind of here, but it only went slightly above our all-time high back in 2017, which tells us that we're not quite there yet. We're not at the market peak, but I mean, a lot of people think, and I have this line drawn out here, which is a little bit faded, just so we can see the channel that we're going to talk about in the stream. But this line here represents basically the last day of 2021, which a lot of people are saying that we're going to see a market crash by the end of 2021. I personally think we're going to go into sometime Q2, Q3 of 2022. I do believe that that's most likely when we will see some sort of a market drop. How's it going, Tim? Welcome to Coffee and Crypto. But so the whole point is a lot of people are saying that, hey, we're coming to this drop. I watched Alex Becker's video, which mistake number one, don't watch Alex Becker's video. And you see all these things happen. And you see all these people saying that the sky is falling because what happened in December and it's a 4-year market cycle. You start to see a lot of people capitulate. And could we see a sell-off going into December? I think that's actually pretty possible. How low could we go? Now, I think it's very important to keep a couple things in mind. Number one, that Bitcoin is trending up right now in this channel that we have drawn out. So we are going up. So if we did drop right now, we'd be looking at approximately, let's see. We'd be looking at approximately $49,000, $48,000 for Bitcoin to drop to. At its bare bones, absolute drop. If we candle down right now, that's where we would see it. Every day, this is going to increase, right? Because we're going up. We're on an upwards trend. If we did drop in just a couple of days, we're looking at 52,000, and then it goes up and up and up. So the longer that we wait, the more support we hold at these higher levels. Could we see a drop? Could we see a drop going into December? I absolutely think so. How low could we go? I don't think any lower than 52,000, depending on when we drop. If it takes a little bit longer for us to drop later on in December, the potential is dropping to 57, 56. But I think a lot of people will sell, and then we'll see the market kind of tear off and go on a rip. And at that point, that's when a lot of people will FOMO back in, come in, think that the market's only going to go up, and Bob's your uncle. The problem that I have is that most people, after December comes and goes, and there is no mass sell-off event, like there's no market crash and we're able to continue up after December, a lot of those people will act like they've been calling this the whole time, and the market is always going to crash in March, for example, when a lot of people think it's going to crash. The only reason I'm kind of stating this is not one to keep you from selling, but you should at least be a player in the market, because definitely where we're going in the next couple months is going to be huge. Like, we're talking about incredible amounts of money heading into these markets. So, and at the end of it, when you talk about something that's 5 years down the road, how big could this market be? Obviously, in the tens of trillions of dollars, we could definitely see that. One kind of representation of that money, the $10 trillion, is the House just passed that $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Regardless of your politics, I'm just kind of showing this to talk about the dollar amount, the dollar value of it. Now, of course, I believe that the bill's staggered. I'm Canadian. I don't know that much about it. So forgive me, but I believe it's staggered. But either way, $1 trillion or $1.2 trillion is a lot of money, and it's roughly half of the cryptocurrency market cap right now. A little less than half, because the crypto market cap is at $2.8 trillion right now. But that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's passed. The global, the stock market, the U.S. stock market is worth over $100 trillion. The U.S. real estate market is worth $200 trillion. The money supply, well over 300 trillion. Yeah, you're looking at some pretty intense numbers when you get up there. And cryptocurrency as a market class isn't really that matured at this point yet. We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. The big thing is right now, Bitcoin has mainly been consolidating. So we see Bitcoin kind of consolidating down, staying above that $60,000, definitely more stable than what it was back here. Because if you look at when it hit those all-time highs back over here, we'll draw some trend lines here and make the colors stand out a little bit more so we can see them. So if we draw these trend lines, we can kind of see how fast we would drop after we hit, right? So we have a range here that we would hit. So it's essentially we'd go up to the top and then drop all the way down, and we kind of like bounce in between this range, right? You can see how volatile this whole thing was. Now, if you look here, because we have the supply shock, we have interest in Bitcoin and everything else, we don't see nearly as great as volatility as we saw before. And yet everyone right now, more so than before, is calling for a market crash. They're saying that we're peaked out. And I would suggest that actually what Bitcoin is doing is consolidating for its next leg up. And if a potential sell-off happens in December, it's most likely due to emotions. People just selling because they feel that the market is going to crash in December, because that's what it did in 2017. If you watch my last video, you know that I think that markets are all based on emotion. All these candles are buy and sell candles from people, right? It's why these markets move. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, how do I want to word this? I don't want to call people like straight up wrong, right? I don't want to say that, but I think a lot of people are going to deviate to, I've been saying this the whole time, when what they think happens in December doesn't happen. And also, we can't really predict markets, and we can't predict market peaks, and we can't predict drops. If it was really that easy, why aren't all these people millionaires? Why aren't all these people, like, why are they making YouTube videos? Or why are they talking to their friends about this, that the market is going to peak in December and then sell all your gains and get out of the market? You know, I do agree with taking profits, absolutely, but I don't agree with selling everything. We do see a lot of health in the market, right? One being Ethereum. We have that big move with Ethereum, kind of getting that pullback over the last couple of days. December, January, February, highest cost months of the year. For, you mean, how do you mean by that? Do you mean, for next year? Like, well, I guess February is the only month next year. I agree with you. I think we're going to see some incredible prices in December, January. Most likely we will see that dip in December, though, because people will sell, right? People will just sell because 2017. So they'll sell because they think that's the correct way to go. Taxes and credit card bills for Xmas and New Year's, also saddest time of the year. Yeah, that's a good point. So we could see. Yeah, that's a really good point. How's it going, Sid? Coffee and crypto. There we go. So I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to get across is right now the market isn't poising for a giant correction. I've heard people actually, and like no meme, actually talk about a Bitcoin going down to 8K. Um, I'll tell you right now. Okay, I'll be 100% honest. If I see Bitcoin go down to 8K, I will sell my body to buy more Bitcoin. Okay, if that is what it comes to, if Bitcoin goes down to 8K, I will do literally anything to buy more Bitcoin. Okay, that's how serious I am. I don't think it's going to go down to 8K. If it does, you all should do whatever you can, deliver pizzas, whatever you can, just to buy more Bitcoin. But I don't think we're going to that level. I don't think we'll ever see a Bitcoin down even sub 30K again. I don't think that that's a reality at this point. Even if we do see a drop, we have plenty of support at the 52,000. We have plenty of support within our channel. We have like a ton of support sitting at around the 41, 42,000, which held before. And then again, that 30,000, right? That bare bone support, which I don't think we'll ever see that price, but we have so much support there. So for people calling an 8K Bitcoin, listen, I will welcome an 8K Bitcoin. I will legitimately welcome an 8K Bitcoin, and I will do everything. It's like what is it? When the whole teacher student scenario, I'll do anything for an A, right? Like I will do anything for an 8K Bitcoin. Okay, I'm just saying, maybe that's just me, maybe that's not everyone, but I would do a lot for an 8K Bitcoin. Right now, we are seeing a lot of other altcoins move or make similar consolidation moves, I should say. XRP being one of them, obviously consolidating based on the SEC, and we're still waiting on that case to come to resolution, and that is coming fairly soon. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind. Now, you also have to think about the institutional drive. So everyone's talking about the market drop and everything else. Ethereum's coiling up because of ETH 2.0. We have the supply shock for Bitcoin and Ethereum. What are banks doing? Banks are hiring people for crypto. They're hiring people to work in the banks, and the postings have surged upwards to 615%. And I can only assume that this is going to grow. People looking for blockchain developers, maybe potentially investors. I don't know what crypto professionals are. I'm not quite sure. Am I a crypto professional? I don't think so. I wouldn't classify myself as a crypto professional. I don't know that anyone can actually be a crypto professional, but hey, so there are a lot of efforts to move here. Now, obviously, there's the whole, bankless identity. Everyone wants to be bankless, and the banks are kind of attacking that. But at the end of the day, these banks have to adapt or die, and they obviously see a technology that makes them obsolete. So they obviously need to adapt to make sure that they're appropriately growing with how everything's working. I got out of crypto when Bitcoin was at 1K, biggest regret of my life. Yeah, exactly. So, if you look at the long-term potential for Bitcoin, right? If you look at the long-term potential, and this is the part that I think people don't look at, right? Everyone gets so caught up. Hold on, I'm going to zoom in again. Everyone gets so caught up in this, right? This is what Bitcoin looks like to everyone in the market right now. This is exactly what people look like. If you go back, right? If you go back to prior 2017, you never saw a price under or above 3K. You never saw that price. Now, I would do anything to see that 3K Bitcoin again. Anything to see that 3K Bitcoin. But you never saw it before. And at this point, it's just going to keep going up and up and up. I don't know how I changed that. Come on. Get back up there. At this point, it's... I hate when I do this. Get up. Okay, there we go. At this point, we're at this point, right? We're here. But why do people think that right now is the peak, right? And this here is a parabolic rise. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but we're getting back onto it, and I'm going to make my point. This is the parabolic rise here. We got above that 3K Bitcoin. We stayed above that 3K Bitcoin, never saw below it. We kind of played around with it a little bit with COVID and everything. This was a very big anomaly to what could have happened with the market cycle. But we had that parabolic rise, and here we are. We're not really at a parabolic rise. We haven't been parabolic in any way. We haven't gone up 20, 30, 40% in a day. Bitcoin has been making slow, methodical moves to the upside after an extended drop down, right? We've been recovering back to the highs and getting back on track with how this market cycle should be, a longer market cycle than past market cycles, which is how every market cycle will be after this. But in the long scheme, in the grand scheme of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, okay, let me tell a story to kind of get this point across. A friend of mine came up to hang out like a couple of months before Bitcoin went parabolic. Okay, not even parabolic. Let's say around the July area, Bitcoin was trading around 8,000, 9,000, give or take. He said Bitcoin's a scam. And the reason why he said Bitcoin's a scam is because he bought upwards to 19K and it dropped. He sold at 14K and lost his entire thing. So Bitcoin is a Ponzi. Bitcoin is a scam. That's a very small-minded investor. That's a person that's looking at one subset of data and expecting that that is representative of the whole chart. When really we're talking about literally from November 19th to January 21st. We're not talking about a lot of time, couple months. We're not talking about a lot of time that it was at this parabolic high. We're talking about a very short period of time. They FOMO'd at the top and they think that's representative of the entire crypto market. But when you zoom out and you look at the prices down here, upwards to $430 Bitcoin, upwards to $1,000 Bitcoin, you see all these prices here and you see where it is now. So this isn't that far away, right? If you look at a gold chart, you'd think, oh, well, that's in the 70s, right? This is 2017. Right? It's 2021 going on 2022. We're talking about just 5 years ago. It's crazy to say that that's 5 years ago. But still, we're not talking about a hell of a lot of time here for Bitcoin to 10x from $600 to $60,000, right? It's doing a lot of movements at this point, going up into these all-time highs. And I don't think we're going to see prices sub 30K again, right? I think seeing Bitcoin at 30K in the future will be a gift to you, and you should buy as much as you can because I don't think we're going to see that price again. I think that's traditionally how these markets have moved. I think that's traditionally how the market cap has moved, and I don't see a reason why it shouldn't do the same here. Again, I'm not calling for incredibly high Bitcoins or anything like that. I'm just calling for longer market cycles and us for never to hit certain levels again, such as how we have done in the past, right? Bitcoin hasn't pumped to 20K and then gone down to $400, right? We've never made a move like that, and we won't. That's fact of the matter. We're not going to see a Bitcoin that is $8,000 or $3,000 ever again. That is definitely, I would probably bet, like I won't bet my life, but I would bet a lot. I would bet a lot that I own that we will never see a Bitcoin at that price ever again in my life. And I think I would be making a pretty safe bet at that point. I would probably say upwards in the 99.9 percentile that I'm making that bet. And hey, I could be wrong. I'm obviously speculating. But the long-term benefits of holding Bitcoin is where it's really at. And the best thing that you can do for your long-term future is obviously stacking Satoshis. That being said, I mean, like, I'm into stocks, like Tesla is on a rampage and everything, but the bulk of my portfolio is crypto. There are 10 people watching and there's only one like. Help a brother out. Give me some likes. So obviously we have this push. We have this narrative that Bitcoin is poised to go down. We have banks getting ready to go into cryptocurrency. We have all these different industries now buying crypto, now putting it on their balance sheets. We're going to start seeing Ethereum being actually put on balance sheets as well. So it's a lot of big pushes right now for the crypto industry. And everyone thinks that we're going to go down. And of course we could have a sell-off, but most likely we're going to shoot up because at this point there's more bullish sentiment than bearish sentiment in the market. I think right now what's happening is just slow, methodical moves. And I think that's the whole point. And yeah, exactly. It's all about slowly and doing this in a methodical way. And getting up to these values that we will never see again. And in the future, we'll be talking about this same topic about 100K, how Bitcoin will never see 100K again. Because again, if you think about it, and I brought this up in my last video, if you think about market caps, $1 trillion for the house infrastructure bill, you're talking about $2.8 trillion for the total cryptocurrency market, $100 trillion stock market. You're talking about a $1.8 quadrillion derivative market, right? $1.8 quadrillion just floating around on contracts that represent a very small fraction of that. So I hate to burst your bubble, but it is a bubble. That being said, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So to think in our lifetime that cryptocurrency can't hit a global market cap of $200 trillion, I think that's pretty doable in our lifetime. I'm not saying tomorrow, but in our lifetime. Moving my assets to Ledger, I think that's smart. Now, of course, I really like DeFi, and I like having things on certain platforms that I earn an interest. I think that's really important. But I think for the most part, having your crypto on a ledger, on a secured place, away from, say, government bodies, away from anyone that can access it, is probably a good idea. At least to have some, right, as a contingency in case something happens. I would be willing to bet that China, their next step is to seize cryptocurrency from their citizens. But I guess we'll see how that goes. But it could pave the way for other countries to do the same. The Ripple SEC case has been strange quite this week. Strangely quiet this week. Sorry about that. I hope this means that they're hammering out a settlement. I hope that they don't settle. I really hope that they don't settle. And the reason why I say that, right, and that's an unpopular opinion because a lot of people want them to settle. It would be good for XRP. I don't want them to settle because it forces the SEC to make a determination on this. The judge is XRP friendly, which is very beneficial to us. She's understanding the plight of the XRP holders. I think right now that they are being quiet. There are still like some movements happening, but I think we're coming close to finality for the XRP lawsuit. And I truly believe, because we have these indicators happening, the Federal Reserve is now approving the transaction type that XRP is legislatively compliant for, right? XRP already checks the box to the Federal Reserve to initiate these payment types. And XRP is in this long drawn out legal battle. Well, I shouldn't say drawn out. This is a pretty on par in terms of time. Long legal battle. And now we're coming to the point where we're coming close to finality and we see the payment structures being approved. So we could potentially see XRP adoption among other industries and countries. That's my speculation, at least, but I definitely think the SEC is going to go in favor of Ripple, and I hope that it's just a judgment from the judge, not a settlement, because in that case, they would require, and I think one of the whole points of a settlement that Brad has mentioned is that they want the SEC to determine whether or not XRP is a security or not. They want clarification, right? That's what it's all been about for Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple. So I think good things are around the corner. I think a lot of people, a lot of XRP holders have been like Andy Dufresne, kind of crawling through that tunnel of shit, and we're all going to come out clean on the other side. I really do believe that we're going to do very well. So. Have you found any external wallets that can hold sheep? And not yet. Ledger is starting. I think the Ledger would probably be your best bet, but there's probably going to be some wallet development coming around for Shiba Inu fairly soon. So I would hold out for that because it sounds like there's a lot of things happening. Like every time I look at my news aggregate, and we'll pull that up just so you can see, every single time it's Shiba Inu. Everyone loves Shiba Inu. So I mean, like it's great. It's great to see all these people earning money. So there we go. I hope I'm right too, Chris. I think I'm right. I've had a pretty big guess on XRP for a while. I'm pretty invested. I have 40% of my portfolio is XRP at this point. I haven't bought XRP in quite a bit, but at this point, I'm happy with my investment, and I can't wait to see exactly where it's going to go in the future. There are other altcoins doing very well right now, Solana being one of them. Again, if you watched the last video, I kind of talked about where we bought Solana. We bought Solana in this range, and now we're upwards to going up to 250. The blockchain is doing well. We have services like Radium, an amazing DEX out there. It's super quick. I think Solana is really going to take hold on a lot of the NFT market. I think that's going to be a big deal. So as more and more people start using the network, obviously the network's going to go up. And today, roughly, it's up 5% on a red day, right? So I put Shiba on my ledger, and the gas fees were brutal. Yeah, I don't know exactly the ins and outs between the gas fees or whatnot of the blockchain, unfortunately. A homemade cold wallet. This could be used for no. That's actually smart. That's actually a smart thing to do, is using an old cell phone. Because you think about it, and hacking into a cell phone is actually a hard thing to do, because all of the cell phones have different firmware versions and everything else like that. If you get an old cell phone with like an old firmware, and just hold a wallet on it, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's probably pretty secure. Did Sand crash down? There's a lot of the metaverse tokens that are doing really well. Like Decentraland is doing really well. It's consolidating today, but it's up 107 on the week. What is Sand doing right now? Hold on. Sand is up. Oh, I was literally just at it. Here we go. Sand. That's not doing too bad. It's up 127 on the week. So all these metaverse tokens are doing very well. Speaking of metaverses, did you guys see what what's his name? Zuck, Barbecue Sauce King. Did you guys see what Barbecue Sauce King was talking about the metaverse and all this crap? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not excited for Facebook to get into anything crypto related or talk about anything. And I'm also not. Here it is. Here is the article. The metaverse is. Hold on. The metaverse promise. So I don't know if he's talking about metaverse as in Meta, like his company, right? Because Facebook is now named Meta, or if he's actually talking about the metaverse. I have no earthly idea. It looks like he's talking about the metaverse because he's talking about NFTs, DeFi, and crypto. And as much as I agree that the metaverse is going to blow up, I'm not invested too much into Mark Zuckerberg's opinion in what he thinks about the metaverse personally. Barbecue Sauce King, man. Barbecue Sauce King, absolutely. It likes that Sweet Baby Ruth's or whatever the brand was. So, yeah, to each their own, I guess. But, you know, with everything, with all the altcoins, we definitely have a lot of movement in the market. We have Solana, we have SHIB doing incredible. Even with the drops that everyone has been seeing over the last couple of days with Bitcoin, these charts are still looking really bullish, right? They're still looking. Oh, this is the wrong one, but they're still looking really bullish. So everything's looking good. Ethereum is on a bit of a 3-day pullback right now. Most likely we'll keep kind of going down, and again we could drop, but. On my video yesterday, I talked about some bearish possibilities in December sell-off. We're hearing that bear case. So much of YouTube is all bullish. Need both sides. Interesting. So, okay. So a couple of areas that I'm seeing that. One, Alex Becker, which definitely is not someone that you should take seriously in the market, was mentioning that there was going to be a crash, or we're heading for a crash, and the market has peaked out. The main crux of the analysis comes from Raoul Pal, who did a hour-long interview just a couple of days ago. Let me see if I can find this for you. I think it's an interesting interview if you want to take a look at it, because he kind of describes a lot of human emotion that's going to kind of drive the market in the next little while. But he's saying we'll most likely see some sort of a sell-off going through here. I have it here. I just have to pause that. Bring that down. He's saying that we should see an emotional sell-off because people will just sell. People will just sell because that's when it crashed before. So, and a lot of people are calling for it. So I gotta stop that. A lot of people are calling for it. Say Alex Becker. A lot of big YouTubers are calling for it. So I think people are just going to sell in December because that's what they've seen happen before. So they think, okay, market's going to peak in December, we're going to sell. I agree with you. I'm on the bullish side. I think we're going to extend into 2022, potentially March or even a little bit longer. Are you contributing to the Polkadot parachains, hoping for big things for Akala and Infinity next year? Yeah, Akala is probably one of the biggest ones that I'm looking into. Unfortunately, I can't contribute to Moonbeam, which is very unfortunate because I don't think it's available in my country. But as soon as I can buy Glimmer, the actual token, then I'm going to be an investor in the token itself. So the one thing that you got to keep in mind too is your Polkadot is going to be locked up for a period. But I believe Akala is going to provide you some sort of liquidity option for that Polkadot that you offer in your crowdfund. So I think you'll have access within the Akala platform and everything else. So I haven't, it's looking pretty promising, I would say, for Akala, especially if you look at what Karora has done in terms of the gain and everything else. And the platform is actually pretty slick looking at it, and it gives the same stake for same stake percentage as running a node. So definitely pretty well. My little guy's yelling in the room. Here comes nice. Get him. Get him jacked while they're young, right? I'm in a game. The metaverse. Yeah, you get LC dot. That makes sense. So the liquidity dot. So you will have access on the Akala platform, which is nice. And I don't know how. Well, you get your ACA, whatever the rate is on your ACA for the increase, right? So, and who knows really where that can go? Because if we take a look at what is it? KAR is Karora? Yes. If we take a look at the Karora price right now. And again, we haven't had that much time to go, but it started trading in the $4 range, going upwards, peaking up to the $12 range. Now we've just kind of consolidated. We haven't really done anything for the market, but it's definitely holding at a steady price, and could go a lot higher in the future, especially as more network growth happens for things like Polkadot, for these DeFi platforms. I'd probably say that not a lot of people know about, say, Karora or Akala or even Moonbeam. I think Moonbeam is sort of fringe to people. Kylan is very fringe to people. I think Kylan is another big blockchain that you should keep your mind in if you're looking for Polkadot parachains. They're doing very well. I didn't hear, because Polkadot just announced the first one in its shell, and I've never heard about it before in my life. This is actually going to be the first time I looked it up. But apparently this is the first Polkadot parachain. So, yeah. Have I seen anything about Opulus on Algorand? See, I don't know much about Algorand, so I don't know like anything bad or good. I know like Algorand has been a very like good project, or it's been talked about very fondly. Like a lot of people like it. I just don't know too much about it. We do have a nice circulating supply though, nice total supply. It's trading at $1.83 at a market cap of roughly 11 billion? Yeah, I had to count some zeros for a second. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I'm not very attuned with the Algorand market, unfortunately, but I've heard good things at least. So I can't really speak intelligently on Algorand, unfortunately. ACA is the native token of Akala. I see DOT as the derivative of DOT. It allows you to provide liquidity instead of your DOT sitting for 2 years doing nothing. That's pretty cool. I like that, because what you can do essentially is you can still earn on your DOT while you're providing it in a crowdfunded loan, right? So you can still earn, and like, what is Karora even at? I think their percentages are upwards to the 40% Karora. We'll take a look at the platform really quick. KSM. Of course I spell it wrong. So if we take a look at the earn, So on Karora right now, if you stake the KUSD KSM, there's KSM to LKSM. Here's a card to KSM. So right now the card to KSM is at a 41% for the stake APR liquidity, which is much more than what you would get for, say, the Polkadot parachain. Now, of course, you're going to be earning this in CAR, I assume. Of course, in Akala, you're going to earn it in ACA. So with ACA and DOT, it'll be a similar stake pair. Who knows what the APR is? I can assume maybe a little bit more. Who knows? But still, it'll be leagues better than one just staking your Polkadot. And then on top of that, leagues better than just having it in a loan without earning something back from it. So being able to put up your ACA and your Polkadot in liquidity, and it's kind of genius on their part too, because it kind of gives the DEX instant liquidity as well with Akala. So it definitely works on both sides of the spectrum, providing that front there. So I definitely think that there's some growth to be had for something like Akala. If we look at Karora's success, we can kind of judge, okay, what is Akala going to do in the near term? And then, of course, you have your long-term speculation where it's going to go. Obviously, I'm really bullish on Polkadot and everything. So I think it has a lot of room to grow from here to become one of the more used DEXs, right? At least in terms of the top tier. We have a lot of top tier tokens that are doing very well with their decentralized exchanges. One being Binance Coin, which, funny enough, I think who was it? Was it JP Morgan that said Binance Coin is a better smart contract platform than Ethereum, which I thought was hilarious, because if you don't know, Binance Coin is literally a carbon copy of Ethereum. They copied the code and maybe tweaked it a little bit to make the gas fees different. So I love JP Morgan's like meta 5-head brain there. It's incredible. Good job for them. Obviously, I'm memeing. JP Morgan doesn't know what they're talking about. But yeah, I think having awareness of what's happening with the Polkadot system is going to be pretty big. We have a bunch of other tokens that are going to do well too. A lot of people are also, while we're, I guess, talking about altcoins and Ethereum and everything else, a lot of people are talking about a flippening. Now, I'm kind of curious of what you guys would think, whether or not you think one day down the road, Bitcoin and Ethereum might flip. I actually think that this is a possibility. Is it a probability this market cycle? I'd probably say no. I'd probably be on the side of this isn't going to happen in this market cycle in terms of Ethereum flipping Bitcoin. That being said, we do see over time Ethereum has grown in this kind of hold of the market, right? Back in 2015, only holding approximately 1% of the market, going up to 11%, roughly 10% of the market. Having our closest gap here at 31 and 37, or 37 and 31% for Bitcoin and Ethereum, respectively. And then going up to the kind of divide that we had recently of 69 and 7%. But now here we are creeping again to that kind of injunction of 44% Bitcoin and a 19.3% Ethereum. So Ethereum is slowly gaining market share, and it's holding more market share. It's not as parabolic as back here, right? We see this parabolic shoot up for Ethereum because Bitcoin capitulated down. We see this parabolic rise up here because Bitcoin capitulated down again. But now we see this almost steady increase. We see that rise, but we held, right? We held that rise, and we could see a potential move higher for Ethereum to go up. So we could over time see something like the Ethereum dominance go up, maybe match Bitcoin, and maybe eventually at one point be over Bitcoin. I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon, though. But I agree with the experts that say that it could potentially happen. We have ETH 2.0 coming out. We have a lot of bullish sentiment about where the market's going to go in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So the potential is definitely there. And then, of course, we have locked up DeFi and everything else. So An interesting thought. At least I know a lot of people are kind of on that fence that, or on that side of things that Ethereum could one day overtake Bitcoin, and I think it probably could when you come down to the crux of it. But is it going to happen in the near term? I don't think so. But I think there's a lot of things that aren't going to happen in the near term. One big thing being, Bitcoin going down to 8K, right? So. But other than that, honestly, we really don't have that much news. We don't have all that many tokens to talk about. Everything's really sluggish. I used the BSC bridge the other day to move ETH over to purchase a new token. Very simple. I mean the bridges are nice. I have nothing against the BSC. I wanna make that very clear. Now I'm not using the BSC right now. I'll probably use it again. It's a very good product for what it is. I think it's a great entry level into DeFi. It does really good things. It just has kind of a Wild West token area. But that being said, that could be very appealing to people, and that's really everywhere. If you talk about like services like Radium with Solana, same thing. You get scam tokens everywhere, so you can't really control that as a DEX. I personally think what the BSC has done with PancakeSwap is just fantastic, right? It's a responsive DEX. It's fast. You have the prediction market that people really like. There's a lot going on here. Unfortunately, I don't use it now, but I'll most likely come back to it because I did use it for a while, and it was a pretty clean DEX to use, I will have to say. But it's the cheaper gas fees that are really making it, but you also have cheaper gas fees right now with Matic. You have the cheaper gas fees with Solana. Cheap gas fees are out there. I think just PancakeSwap right now has the biggest user base because they came at the right time. They came when Ethereum gas fees were at a huge peak, and there were no other DeFi alternatives other than this, right? So that's obviously why they took that market capitalization and grew in volume. And basically now they're the top DEX, right? Over Uniswap, right? Over the number one DEX for a while, PancakeSwap beats them. A carbon copy of Ethereum. So at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of people that like the system should be encouraged because this is what the future of DeFi should be, is platforms like PancakeSwap. So I think there's a lot to be said for something like PancakeSwap compared to some other DEXs that maybe are lackluster, or other DEXs that run on the Ethereum chain that have huge amounts of gas fees like SushiSwap, like Uniswap. So obviously those DEXs are going to have value, right? You also have other DEXs like ApeSwap and everything else going down into the BSC. Then under Solana, you have your Radium, right, being the number 7 DEX right now. So in terms of other blockchains other than Ethereum, we really just have basically Radium, Avex, and a couple others kind of sitting in the top area. But I think right now, the big thing for me to kind of consolidate my DeFi, because a lot of my bags are HODL bags in say Celsius or cold storage, wherever. Everything else, I've basically been using Radium. This is actually interesting. Solarbeam. I haven't seen Solarbeam yet, which is the Moonbeam equivalent, or the Moonbeam DEX, which interesting. You can already buy Moonriver here. I wonder how we get on here. I bought my first scam token in May on the BSC. Fucking catnip. I was thinking a very bad gamble. I think I bought. I was buying some NFT plays, and for a while, one of them got rug pulled. I lost a couple $100. Luckily, I was watching the BSC like a hawk, like I was watching my PancakeSwap. I noticed something was up, so I pulled my liquidity right as the kind of capitulation started. So, yeah. Tried to pull my liquidity out of Shiba Swap 275 in gas. Yeah, I don't think so. Gas fees like that are not feasible, right? We cannot see gas fees like that long term. I don't think that that's reliable for long term. Oh, hey. So I haven't actually been on here yet, but this is I wonder if they have a bridge. They do have a bridge. Interesting. And they allow us to bridge from interesting. Okay. We may talk about this in the future. This is Moon River, right? We've talked about Moonbeam before, but this is Moon River. This is their DEX right now, Solar Beam. So I might play with this a little bit and get on here. So, and I know a lot of people have been having trouble buying Moon River depending on where they live. So this would be a surefire way to buy a Moon River, which is nice. Waiting for Shibarium layer 2 blockchain. Yeah, I mean, like layer 2 is always going to be that solution unless there's an ETH 2.0. I think the problem that the BSC is going to have and that the tokens like Shiba Inu have is if you're copying Ethereum, you're getting all of Ethereum's downfalls, which also includes Ethereum's terrible gas fee structure. So if you copy Ethereum, you're just, I don't know, you're not starting off on a playing field where you're putting yourself up to scale for such a growth that Shiba Inu or the BSC has seen, right? So you're not really going to scale to the point where your gas fees are going to be low enough. So whereas like you see other blockchains that are actually scaling to that point, that are actually doing things low fees, which is probably going to be where things go. Sometimes I wish some of these tokens were modeled off of other tokens than Ethereum, but I mean, I get it. Ethereum was the hype and everyone wanted a piece. So I think Ethereum's good. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there are other smart contract blockchains out there that could potentially do the job in a little bit of a better way than Ethereum does. So I think it's just an important thing to kind of keep in mind as we go through. But I think now it's a lot more. What I like about the Shiba movement and the BSC movement is before talking about DeFi, no one really got it. No one understood what yield farming was. It was a super complex thing. And everyone thought it was super hard to get into. Now everyone's doing DeFi, right? Everyone knows what DeFi is. If I talk about DeFi, everyone's telling me DEXs to use and everything else. A lot of people are now coming into the DeFi market, understanding exactly how they can make their crypto work for them. And this also shows them an understanding of where the crypto market is going to go in the long term. Where we're going to be in terms of earning on our cryptocurrency. Is it better to earn on a DEX than BlockFi? I'd probably say in a lot of ways, yeah, it'd be a lot better to earn 40% of APR rather than an 8% APR on a stable coin, right? So, and some of the APRs are quite large. When I was on the BSC, I was doing somewhere upwards to like 110 to 200% on some tokens. So the percentages can go up pretty high. Of course, with the higher percentage, you got to be a little bit more wary. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, right? So, but we got 10 minutes or so to wrap up here. So we'll just kind of go an overview of what we talked about today. If there are any questions, we'll answer the questions as we wrap up the stream here. Right now, the market cap is sitting at roughly $2.8 trillion. Again, a lot of people are thinking that we're going to see a market drop in the near term going into December. And as much as that is possible, I would encourage everyone to go look at Raoul Pal's video, or the fireside chat video that Raoul Pal talked about, or talked in, I should say. Whereas he described that most likely what will happen is we'll see a sell-off in December because people will emotionally connect back to the December 2017 sell-off then, because they expect it to sell or they expect the market to drop in 2017. Then after that, because of the institutional move, right? Because we have all these banks, we have MasterCard, we have all these banks getting into cryptocurrency, we have this huge institutional push, we have governments getting into cryptocurrency, we have mayors being paid in Bitcoin, we have all of this bullish narrative, we have the supply shortage in exchanges for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum is coiling up because of ETH 2.0. All of these bullish indicators are happening. If we do see a sell-off in December, it'll compress the chart so much that Bitcoin will have no choice but to go up. And in that case, it'll probably scream ahead, which is what Raoul Pal thinks. It'll scream ahead and cause a max pain event for the people that sold. Obviously going up into new highs. I don't think we're going up into a huge number, but I think $150,000 Bitcoin is in the cards for this market cycle. So yeah, more institutional support to keep it propped up. Exactly. And that's where the crux of the matter comes in, right? Because the market cap, if we actually think about Bitcoin as an asset, right, or cryptocurrency as an asset, this is a very young asset. This is a very, very young asset. We're talking about something that's only been trading for upwards to 13 years? Is it 14 years old now? We're not old, right? We're not old. This isn't compared to gold, where humans have been trading this since we found that shiny rock the first time, right? This is nothing like that. This is absolutely nothing like that. So I think a lot of people are going to sell off, and I agree with Oracle on this one. That a lot of it is paper hands. That being said, I think you should take profits, and I'm definitely going to be taking profits in the near coming weeks if we do see prices get to where I hope that they get to. If I have to wait through December, then I will, because I'm not taking profits quite yet, but I will eventually end up taking profits just to make sure that I have things taken care of. I want to get a house. I want to take care of investments. I want to take care of maxing out some retirement stuff while having a good chunk of cryptocurrency. I'm probably still going to hold the majority of my net worth in crypto for the long term. Whether that's risky or not to people, I mean, I'm 31 years old. If I lose everything in the crypto market, and I'm not trading, so it literally has to go to zero. But if I lose everything in the crypto market, I'm 31 years old. I can make it back. I'm not worried. I'm already willing to sell my body for an 8K Bitcoin. So if I'm willing to sell my body for an 8K Bitcoin, then I can build it back. I'm starting to take profits, as some have said I must. You should take a little bit of profits, right? Dynamically, dollar cost average, build a bag of, say, stable coins, gold, and everything else, and be ready, because if Bitcoin does drop on a sell-off, wouldn't you want to be that person to buy? Wouldn't you want to be that person that took a little bit of profit and you're like, oh, wow, Bitcoin dropped to like 30K and it's holding support. It's looking like it's going to go back up. Am I not going to go in at a 30K Bitcoin before Bitcoin goes up to potentially, say, 150,000, right? You're getting way more than a 3x gain from that. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. 5x gain? Almost? Yeah, 5x gain. So, it's good to take profits. It's good to have a cash position on the sidelines, definitely. And I'd probably say I don't have a giant cash position on the sidelines because I invested everything that I had basically in this range. I'm doing pretty good with my portfolio right now where it is, but I didn't really have like a big cash reserve to slowly go through. I was basically investing with employment income. Still to this day, that's what I invest with is employment income. Every time I get paid, kind of goes into investments. So I don't have a giant pool of cash on the sidelines other than like an oh shit fund in case something happens dramatically, but I don't invest with it. So everything else right now has been basically all cryptocurrency. I'd probably say roughly 92% of my net worth is in crypto. I'd probably say that that's a fairly good estimate. The rest being stocks, and I'm obviously not counting any like physical assets because I don't consider a car an asset, and I rent, so I don't own a home. So the majority of my portfolio is crypto at this point. So, but building a position of gold, building a position of stable coins, DAI is going to be beneficial. But also buying Bitcoin at a super low price is also beneficial. So. We'll start to wrap it up here the last couple of minutes to go talk about some of the altcoins that have pumped, to recap what we've talked about with the altcoins, not just Bitcoin. One, XRP is coiling up. We know that this case is coming close to finality. I don't know how many of you were actually, you're supposed to invest 10% of your pay in something for the future. Why not crypto? I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that. Absolutely. I think you should invest as much as you're able to. If that's 30% and you're able to be frugal enough to do it, I think you should. But 10% at the very least. I tell people, if you're literally paycheck to paycheck, start with $10. Start with $10 a pay. You can do $10 a pay because I know you can, because you buy Starbucks every other day. All right. You can do $10 a pay. Just start small, right? Start with what you can. Definitely going from there. XRP, the case is coming close to finality. We have a huge push. I think we are going to come to a favorable conclusion for XRP. So hopefully that comes close. We do have a BNB going on an absolute tear over the last little while. Solana as well going up to new highs. DOT holding a good amount of value, kind of going on a little bit of a drop over the last couple of days following Bitcoin and everything else, but not too concerning. We do have Link doing fairly well right now. And then VeChain obviously sitting back up at its 15 cents. When your used car is worth more than you bought it, perhaps the car is an asset. That's a very good point. For anyone that doesn't know, I bought, I didn't buy the car. All right, so I leased the car. Which is not a good financial decision. I want to make that clear. I did not lease this car because it's a good financial decision. I leased the car because I felt that I deserved it. All the things that we tell ourselves to justify a bad financial decision. That bad financial decision is making me money. Maybe it is an asset. I guess so. It's appreciated. It's literally appreciated. If I buy out that car right now, I can put it on Auto Trader and probably make a smooth 8 to 9K on it. So I basically can pay back most of what my lease was. So at the end of the day, I make like I drove a car for like under $10,000 essentially. Something is better than nothing. I exactly. Like even if it's $1, something is better than nothing, right? So I firmly believe that. And a lot of people don't have that mindset with cryptocurrency or investments in general. A lot of people that I talk to about getting into crypto, a lot of people ask me about crypto. They always say the same thing. And I don't know why everyone just like says this, but they're always like, I have $2,000 or I have $20,000, right? Insert price here, whatever the price is. I have this much money, right? I want to put it all into crypto. And it's like, no, like, I mean, yeah, you should and you could as long as you're prepared to hold for the long term, right? We see crypto and Bitcoin right now at like all-time highs. Is it the time to go all in? I don't think it's time to go all in, but you have crypto at all-time highs. You know, you dollar cost average. You put a percentage of your income in. A coworker sold their Bronco for $8K more over the full price. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers what's happening with the used car scene right now. Used cars are actually, you know what? That leads me into an article that I was going to talk about, then decided not to talk about, but we're going to talk about it just to cap off the live stream. Is inflation? We're going to talk about it in the context of everything, not just global food prices. But you'll notice that the inflation is going up. The reason why car inflation is going up because the price of parts are going up because there's the supply chain shortage. And inflation can come in many different directions, right? We have the rampant printing of money, and then we have the supply chain shortages, which also increases food costs. We have even containers being of a shortage, whereas maybe the food isn't a shortage. One piece of the puzzle of our very fragile supply chain breaks, and we see ripple effects in multiple different industries. We see grocery stores getting less and less in stock and everything else, and prices are soaring and soaring and soaring. I just read an article this morning about gas, right? That Ontario is seeing All-time low gas prices at $1.41. Low of what? Low of a month? Like, it's been at $1.47. We're talking about a 6-cent decrease. That's a low for you. $1.41 is a low on gas. No, I don't believe that. I remember filling my tank for 67 cents. Some of you guys probably remember it a little bit less. Some of you guys probably remember it a little bit more. But yeah. You definitely should. You definitely should, because all the used cars are going up. Catalytic converters are going up because of the material costs in them. It's really hard. It's really hard to buy a used car right now, because if you're buying a used car, you got to be ready to shell out a lot of money. So for anyone buying a used car, it's a nightmare. For anyone selling a used car, I mean, it's a pretty good market at this point. I'm like, honestly, I have a GMC Terrain, 2018 GMC Terrain, nothing flashy. I like it. I'm probably just going to keep it. I don't think I'm going to sell it. I'll probably post it on Kijiji or Auto Trader and say, here's the price. If they pay it, I mean, I get like a couple $1,000s profit, right? So sure, I'll go and take that, get something else. But I know that it'll be harder for me to get something. So I got to be prepared for that as well. But, yeah, but, in general, economy down, crypto up. That's the way I like to fuck. Okay. Yeah, just like the housing market. I don't even want to talk about the housing market. I will never own a home. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll be lucky. I don't know. I can't justify taking out of my crypto right now and putting it as a down payment on a home. I just can't justify it. I don't know if I'm going to catch a falling knife. I don't know if it's going to go back up. I know crypto is more or less going to go up. I don't know what's happening with housing. I have no earthly idea. I would much rather just rent and not worry about it right now. Maybe that's something in the future. Maybe I can definitely get something in the future that I want. But right now it's just no thanks. I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to buy a crack den for $700,000. That's not what I want to do. Yeah, I want a place to live. I legitimately want a house to live. I legitimately want just a property to live in. But it just seems right now real estate in Canada is growing more and more to be an investment rather than a living situation. And also with rent costs going up and everything else, getting a little frustrating to see cost of living, rent going up, and the house prices just soaring out of reach for a lot of people. So there's always Lotto Max. That's it. Or there's always Lotto Max, or there's always cryptocurrency 5xing from here, right? There's always both scenarios. So whichever comes first, whether I hit the lottery or cryptocurrency 5x's at this point, or it does a bigger move, or down in the future where cryptocurrency is going to go. So I'm not terribly worried. I mean, I'll rent for a couple of years until I figure out where I'm going. Yeah, I mean, like, there you go, right? Like, so yeah. At this point, I'm happy. I'm happy because I literally budget all my food. I budget everything. I make sure that I'm spending the least amount of money on everything, mainly so I can just spend the maximum amount on a certain cryptocurrencies. So, and I did that all through the bear market. Well, not all through the bear market. If I did that, I'd have a house right now. But I did that basically through where's the Bitcoin chart? Basically through between 2020, January, February of 2020. So right around here. Here is when I got into crypto, and I started every pay, putting in as much of the paycheck as I possibly could. There were some pays that I would just drop a lot of money. I would have nothing. I didn't buy clothes. I still haven't bought new clothes. I've been wearing the same shirts for since 2020. I still haven't bought any new clothes. It took me a lot to buy parts for my computer when my computer blew up. So a lot of money has went into cryptocurrency from my paychecks. And I'm way more happy to do that than buy a house right now in this market. So That's my thinking. So far, the investment has proved me well because obviously we're up here and not down here anymore. So renting is great. Owning a house can be a bitch. The upkeep, yeah, and that's how I'm justifying it for myself right now. Right now, the rent is getting upwards to the same amount that I would pay for a mortgage. So really, if I got into a house now and I'm paying a mortgage, it's roughly going to come up to the same price that I'm paying in rent, maybe a little bit less. But I also have to think about upkeep. I have to think about the costs, and everything else. So there's a lot to go into owning a home than just renting, right? I can destroy this rental, and it's not even a problem. I literally could give a shit about what happens to this rental. So yeah, I've been putting all my pay into my portfolio since last year. I mean, like it, you think for a while, if like when you're putting it down here and you're putting it in, like Bitcoin's at 12,000, then goes down to like 4,000, you think you're fucking crazy. You think you're insane. What am I doing? I'm putting all my money. Am I fucking nuts? Like, what am I doing here? And then you're validated, right here. So. Definitely doing good up at the top. But if you buy low and buy consistently, you're going to be fine. You may seem like a crazy person that's only buying cryptocurrency, but hey, it worked out for me and it'll work out for you if you hold for the long term. So, but yeah, I agree. Blockchain Planet. That's same with me, man. Same with me. That's it. We're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday, Coffee and Crypto. I will see you guys next week, but we'll probably see you guys throughout the week. Hopefully we see some nice moves through the weekend. I'm not actually expecting a lot through this weekend, though, for anyone wondering. I'm expecting that we continue to consolidate and see what traditional markets do on Monday and kind of follow the lead, because so far we've been following a lot what traditional markets have been doing with the Dow Jones and everything else. I've been loading up on alts. Yeah, I don't buy any more Bitcoin right now as well. I stopped buying Bitcoin after the rise, basically. Once Bitcoin went up about $12,000 is when I probably stopped buying Bitcoin. Actually, I think my last purchase was 14,000. I did buy like a small amount of Bitcoin in this drop, though. I did do that. But yeah, took a guy almost... all day, 400 pounds of, yeah. We will moon chat. This is the bottom, 100% bottom is in. Yeah, we will see. I think we're gonna do some big things for crypto. I think crypto is gonna really pump out the next little while. But that's it for me, guys. Hopefully everyone enjoyed. Again, if you haven't, go check out the Raoul Powell thing for Fireside. Very interesting, very intriguing. I think it's gonna give you guys a lot of insight on what could potentially happen next. All right, everyone, take it easy and have a good weekend.